So you think that women aren't as childlike and innocent as they get older?
I think that women aren't as childlike and as innocent from a young age. I think that we are, I don't know what it is, but I feel like boys can tap into their innocence and their fun and their play, I feel like a lot more easier than women can.
So do you think that's something that society puts on women, or do you think that's something that is innately feminine?
I think it's both. I think it's a blend of both. I think as women, we are expected to be a certain way. We're expected to have it all together and to not be overly emotional and to be serious and almost to a degree like prove ourselves to the world that we are just as capable as men. So I think there's a level of like deep maturity that comes with that. But I think that just innately being a woman, you have the desire to care and lead and guide people just as that's like in us. So I think that with that comes a level of like maturity and responsibility and care.
So you think that women are essentially forced to mature and grow up quicker than boys?
Yeah.
But also, even when boys grow up, they can still be immature and make penis jokes and fart jokes and giggle at stupid things that women just don't find funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't. Occasionally, but not really.
I wonder, because I think there is something that's so valuable for women to be able to be that goofy, silly way when they're around a man.
Yeah.
Because like you aren't like us rolling around the ground just now, laughing and doing jujitsu and dry humping each other. Like that's goofy and that's silly, and like I'm doing that because I enjoy making you laugh.
Yeah.
So I'll make a fool of myself for it. But that's not something that you would say do outside of that container.
Yeah. I think that as a woman, we live a much different experience in this world just being women because we are designed to live in a patriarchal society. But I think when you're in a relationship with a man who you feel truly like safe around, I think that there's possibility for you to just kind of let go as the woman and not be so tight and rigid and hold your guard up and just like having a man who like will hold space for you in like a non-toxic way, I think is really healing for women to be able to be goofy and silly and roll around on the ground and, you know.
And I think that's something that you may have cringed at.
Yeah.
I think that in the past, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel that you've held the belief that men and women are innately just equal. In a different, not that men and women aren't equal, but the fact that there was less of a distinction between the masculine and the feminine, and that the masculine doesn't have. I feel like you hated men in college. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You hated men, and I think your contempt toward the masculine made you degrade the importance of it in yourself and other people, and the feminine. You didn't have a dance between them.
I think that I was frustrated being a woman in the world, and in college I was really seeing that for the first time and being validated by that. It was thoughts and beliefs and stuff that I had always felt inside of myself and believed about the world, and being scared to walk to my car at night and not wearing a skirt that's too short and all the things that come with being a woman. And for the first time in college, I was seeing that other women felt that way. And not only that other women felt that way, but there was science behind it. There was psychology behind it. I'm sitting in class and we're talking about it. So I was getting that validation of all of these feelings you've been feeling your whole life as a woman aren't made up and you're not alone. So I was like feeling the power in that. But for me, it turned into like being frustrated with man and being frustrated that I live in a man's world and not understanding that there's a feminine polarity and a masculine polarity and how they play a role in all of us, man or woman. That's where I was not having the connection. My thought process around it was simply, I hate men because men suppress women. And fuck that. So that was where my retaliation towards men came from.
And since entering a relationship with me, what has your experience been of actually surrendering into your feminine with a masculine counterpart?
It's been magical. Yeah. I feel like now, like looking back on it, I was operating solely from my masculine energy. I was always the one in control. I was always the one leading and making decisions and planning things out and seeking this power over people. And coming into a relationship with you, I felt like I could just like take a deep breath and like not run the show. Like I didn't have to do everything. And I could just kind of like shut my brain off sometimes and let you lead and trust you and trust that if you're cooking eggs and you left the burner on, that you're an intelligent enough individual man to shut the burner off, right? That I don't need to be the one mommying you. Corey, can you clean your dish up? Corey, shut the burner off. Corey, the window's open. Do you think you could shut the window? Like none of that needed to happen, but there was an element of saying shh to myself sometimes because I was still getting used to not running the show with you.
But at the same time, as a man, we do seek out those motherly qualities in women.
Yes.
Like, it's funny. My dad thought it was quite funny when I brought you home. The different similarities that I brought home between you and my mom. Not that by any means you're the same person.
Yeah.
Or even remotely. But there are a lot of symbolic, I suppose, like similarities.
Yeah.
Between you and my mom. And it's like, we do seek out that motherly care and affection. So like, we do kind of like being told every once in a while, like, hey dude, make your fucking bed. Mm-hmm. Or we like it when you're like, hey, do you want me to pack you lunch? Mm-hmm. I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And I think that that's normal and natural, but I think that it can get a little abused. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, go ahead.
Like I've been in relationships where I literally have felt like their mother. And I think a lot of girls have been in relationships where they like they know that they, you know, like this is mommy. You are mommy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what I don't want you to be my mommy.
No.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah, it's weird. But it is like to acknowledge the fact that like we do seek that in a partner, right? We seek somebody who is like our mother and like our father, and that's sort of like the psychology behind it.
Well, the psychology behind it is that we see the world, the masculine and the feminine, through the lenses of our father as the masculine and our mother as the feminine. Mm-hmm. So our entire worldview is largely shaped by the masculine point of view and the feminine point of view that our parents held, or our parents hold in this moment. And through our own journeys, we can figure out where we actually stand, because those are unconscious habits that we have, unconscious perceptions of the world that we hold until we make a decision to put our own awareness in them.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's something you learned about women since dating me?
What is something that I've learned? I've learned a lot about women. I've learned a lot about women because you love women.
I love
which
women.
is beautiful. I love women.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned quite a lot about how the female body is so different than the man body, than man's body, with the 28-day cycle rather than a 1-day cycle. I've learned much more about how to show up for you, and how can I lean into the necessary qualities, the necessary gender polarity that I can take in each moment, because a relationship is a dance, right? I can't always be in my masculine.
Yep.
Even though I'm a man, I can be in my masculine predominantly.
Right.
My nature is to lead. My nature is to be able to provide. It's to be able to do these things that men do and have done for time and time again. Right? But at the same time, I can lean into those feminine qualities, and you can take that masculine point of view. You can take that masculine role in certain instances. You know, and I think we've done a good job of that, because I do lean into my feminine qualities often with especially with the creative outlets that I have.
Yeah.
I need you to sometimes my head's in the clouds thinking of the future and thinking about money and thinking about creating things bigger than myself. And that's the masculine, that's dreaming, that's going and wanting to create. But then the feminine side of me is like, that gets very deep too, where I'm writing these songs and I'm creating these videos and writing these journals and talking about my emotions and such. And sometimes you need to offer that masculine perspective and give me direction. What do you want to do with those creations? You know, how do you want to share those? That's the masculine of you stepping into that masculine role.
Yeah, because you hold both polarities within yourself, and where you operate predominantly from doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. But the dance between the two is really the secret sauce.
So is that something that you consciously do?
Like in my masculine or in my feminine? No. I wouldn't say that I'm like, now I'll switch to my masculine. No, it's just like naturally happens.
Understood. I think there's certain instances where, not that I'm thinking about it consciously, but I understand what the energy is of it. Like, for example, if I'm like, D, where do you want to go for dinner? And you're like, oh, I don't know.
The classic conversation between every man and woman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, I just have to be like, okay, I'm going to choose.
Yeah. And that's what we want. Right? Like, we just want you to decide. Yeah. I don't know what that is.
There's something comforting about it.
There's something like, I feel like the top 3 things, I was going to say that every woman wants, but maybe just me. Like, they want to feel safe is like numero uno. If the woman does not, and that's safe physically, right? Like if somebody walked into this house and tried to kill us, like I want to feel like you can handle that.
Do you feel that?
I feel that, yeah. That makes me feel comforted. But it's beyond like physically safe. That's an element, but just like emotionally safe and like all of the other safeties. That's a huge one, because if you don't feel safe in a relationship or with a partner, you're not really being honest. Like you're not fully letting your walls down. But safety, security, and like a man who can express his emotions are like those are pretty big things.
So a man that can keep you safe.
Yeah.
A man that can provide for you,
yeah,
whether you can provide for yourself or not, and a man that can express how he feels.
Yeah. And the providing thing, like, for me, and I know a lot of women still feel that like the man should like provide in a way that's like financial support, but I don't feel that way for myself. Like, I don't need you to provide financially. I just need you to provide in how you're showing up every day. Like, if your job is to pick the kids up from school, I need you to provide that every single day and not be all over the place with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really a sense of like provide, bring in the money so we can like buy a house. It's more so just like provide in your actions. Like, is what you're saying matching what you're doing? Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've come to understand my own masculine nature much more since coming into our relationship as well, and being able to step into that, because I think a lot of times I was confused in my past about like, I didn't understand or have labels or words for like what energy I was in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand what my masculine and what my feminine was. I didn't know why it was like, oh, I love to play football, but I also love to like draw in my free time.
Right.
And like, I couldn't make a distinction in my head of like what those energies were.
Right. And that's helped you like understand what's going on.
Yeah. And like understand how to consciously be able to like understand myself and like be myself.
Yeah.
And be for myself what I need in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like men get caught in like going and creating and building and doing. And at some point it gets fucking exhausting. Mm-hmm. And you've been able to reel me back because I get caught in that. Yeah. I get caught in the whole, we got to create, we got to do this, what's next, right? And you help me take a deep breath. And the feminine, and I've noticed and I've appreciated that the feminine perspective is so grounding. Mm-hmm. Because like for me, and I keep saying it to you, it's like if I didn't have you, I'd float away.
Yeah.
And like I probably would.
You probably would. You probably would. Yeah.
Whether I floated away figuratively by moving to like the Himalayan mountains, or whether I floated away and moved to some tropical country and burnt out and smoked so many cigarettes I had a hoarse voice, or whatever it was. Like yeah. I it wouldn't be sitting here with you.
Yeah.
You know? I think that your perspective in the feminine helps reel in reality. And like we've had the analogy where I've said like I'm sending it fucking big in this life. Mm-hmm. And we sat down and we drew it out. I drew it out for you, how we can send it big. And I called it Sail at the Sun, which is going to be a song I'm going to be releasing very soon. And
shout
out. And I wrote a song about it. But basically the concept that we discussed is like, I'm going to send it big. And the idea is how can I send it as big as I can without burning alive, without burning up, like Icarus burned up in the sun.
Mm-hmm. How close?
How close can we send it? How many experiences can we have? How much money can we make? How many of these wonderful friends can we build relationships with? How much of the world can we travel to and see? Mm-hmm. And all of that. How can we create that for ourselves by the time we're ready to like settle down and have a family? Mm-hmm. And that's the analogy of Sail at the Sun.
Yep. And
I think it's helpful for me to have you because I think I would have just aimed right at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you would have burned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would have aimed right at the sun. And I think having you allows me to be like, oh, we can really do great things together, but I don't need to burn alive to do it.
Yeah. It's just like going the distance rather than getting there as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And as you're feminine, I'm cool to let you steer the ship. But can't be sleeping on the ship. You know what I mean? I got to be awake on the ship because we got to make sure we don't burn. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're a good ship hand.
I'm a good ship hand. Yeah. The men and women thing is a very loaded conversation. There's like a lot to unpack, but I think in terms of like masculine and feminine, there are just qualities that are innately a part of the two separately.
So how do you feel about sort of that idea of sailing at the sun, how men want to create all this stuff? I feel that you have big dreams for yourself, but at the same time, you don't think about it in the same way.
No. I feel like there's like a very strong intuition as a woman. Like there's just this like undeniable like knowing, like specifically in your womb space. So like I have all these big dreams for myself, and a lot of them this year I've been like seeing come to fruition, and it's not something that I feel very regimented in or made this grand master plan and these are the steps and this is how I'm going to get there. And then when I get there, I'm going to do this. Like it was just more so like, I'm going to do that. And then I did that, you know, like it's a little bit more like flowy and like this all consuming feeling of like knowing rather than hoping and wishing and trying and failing and doing it again and doing it again. Like I feel like all the things I know that I'm going to do, I wouldn't be doing if I didn't know they were going to work. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So men think logically.
Yeah.
Women think emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just like intuitively am kind of like, whatever. Like I accidentally wrote a book, right? I didn't plan that. I didn't think about that. I just kind of accidentally wrote it and then was like.
But you say you accidentally wrote it. You accidentally started writing it.
Yeah.
And then you very intentionally finished it.
Correct. But I didn't even really know I was going to publish the book until the book was done.
Well, initially it was very feminine. Mm-hmm. Where you just like started writing because you had it written since you were a little kid and you enjoyed creative writing. And then it got very masculine where you're going to a coffee shop every day and like figuring out how to write a book and researching publishing and all this stuff. And like you had to step into your masculine to make that happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you didn't have anybody else help you. Like you did that.
No, definitely. But that wasn't towards the end of the process where I was like, I'm going to publish it. This is how I'm going to make it happen. I need to do the research for it, you know? Because in the beginning, it was just like, la-di-da, writing a book. Yeah. Both of them definitely played a role in the book. I mean, even still, like now I'm like promoting the book and like there's definitely still a balance between like the masculine and feminine through that process of creating it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people neglect the fact that we must embody both of the roles. Yeah. Like some men, you see a lot of men out there that feel that they need to be men. Mm-hmm. They need to be rigid and muscly and can't be in touch with themselves. They can't show fear.
Because it's gay.
They need to make a ton of money and drive nice cars and like that's very rigid, right? Yeah. The masculine is a very rigid. So you need the masculine to create structure. Mm-hmm. If there's no structure, you're just gonna be a blob. Yep. Right? But when you when you introduce the feminine into it, you have this structure that can play and it's malleable and you can take all these different forms. Because if you're just masculine all the time, you can't take form and enter a different environment. It's difficult.
It's both. It's both. The yin and yang. It's the divine masculine and the divine feminine. But the world operates masculine and the world wants.
I think it's a facade though. I don't think that I think the idea is that the world operates masculine, but like the men that truly believe wholeheartedly in power and in their masculine are really operating from their feminine, from a place of fear.
Yes.
Because the masculine, because I mean, we talk about it, there's that element of feminine that's in the masculine, an element of masculine that's in the feminine. When you look at these, like take for example, and look at these different influencers online, bodybuilders and these fitness people and these men who just are all jacked up and they get oiled up and post pictures of themselves on Instagram. That's feminine. Mm-hmm. That is feminine to idolize your body and oil yourself up and do it for attention, right? And take for example, like the idea of power, right? Like a lot of men grasp at power because they don't feel like they have control. Mm-hmm. And it's really a feminine urge to grasp for power because it's out of fear that they don't have control.
Yeah, I agree. But the structure of our world is masculine. Whether the men who created it think that they're running from their feminine or not. If you think about mainstream culture, everyone operates on a 24-hour cycle like men. We don't operate on the 28-day cycle for women. They want women to operate like men. We're not supposed to, honor our bodies. We don't get to make choices about our bodies. There's like a lot that goes into it from being a woman, and whether those decisions are being made from a masculine perspective or a feminine perspective, they think it's masculine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're saying the structure by which society is made,
it's a patriarchy.
It's patriarchy.
And you can choose to be in your masculine and be in your feminine and embody both, right? But at the end of the day, we live under the patriarchy. So like my relationship with you is beautiful and amazing, and I love that we can have the dance between the two, and that you can hold the masculine polarity and I can hold the feminine polarity predominantly, and we can have this like beautiful relationship together. But if we like zoom out, we still live under the patriarchy, right?
And you still have to lead, I suppose, from a masculine perspective to make it into
to get shit done. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because if I went to go and work a 9-to-5 corporate job, right, I do not have the ability to honor my body and live by my cycle. There's no live by your cycle. It's work like a man. Think about how long women get off when they have a baby. Their maternity leave. It's absolutely ridiculous. The whole system is fucked up. And if we all came at things from a honest perspective of we all, man or woman, have a masculine polarity and a feminine polarity in us, if we just acknowledge that, it would be beneficial for society, I believe.
I agree. There's a lot that I learned from you as you talk about the feminine.
Yeah. Cause like it's just like any other like oppressed group, right? Like as a woman, we just experience things much differently than as men.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I don't bleed.
You don't bleed.
I mean, I can.
If we cut you open.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't bleed.
But yeah, not once a month.
No. It's sacred. Mm-hmm.
Well, since I don't bleed, I talk a lot about self-realization and consciousness and spiritual awakening and how to take the oneness and inherent unity of our world and bring it down into the physical and master this reality because it's a man's world.
It is.
So we live in this patriarchy. We do have to lead from the masculine a lot of times if we want to create this dream life that we want to create. And I talk a lot about that on my channel. So click that next video, hang out with me. I love hanging out with you. So does Deanna. She loves hanging out with me.
That's true.
We're going to keep on hanging out down below on one of these sides over here. So I love you. Thank you. And
peace.
Adonai.